ASMR. Today I'm going to be doing a collecting video. I believe this is number 5 of the collecting series, and I'm just going to be basically going through, today is all about PS5 games, so let's go through what I've been playing recently. And the first game is one called Astria Ascending. It's definitely not a very popular JRPG, but this is one that caught my eye, and it was going for relatively cheap. The artwork on the front really grasped me. So, but this is a JRPG, so a turn-based RPG, but it's rather than being like open world or isometric like most JRPGs are. The overworld is a platform game, which I've never really seen before, except for in Child of Light on the PSP. This caught my eye, and because it was really cheap, I think I paid about 12 English pounds for it. Decided to pick it up and give it a go. I haven't got very far into it yet, so I can't really give it a fair review. But the combat system is really intuitive, shall we say. It's really fun to play. Like, you don't mind getting into random encounters on this one, because each fight is fun to do. But I don't want to comment too much on it because I've not gone very far into the story. I've heard that it is actually a good story. It's worth completing, but there's been quite a few games recently that have been grabbing my attention away from it, which we're going to go through shortly. But if you've played this game, let me know what you think. I'm hoping I eventually get time to go back to it. The next game on the list is My Time at Sandrock. So, admittedly, I've not really played this one yet. I played the first game in the series, My Time at Portia, a fair amount, and I really got into that game. But this is the sequel, where it's pretty much the same premise, but just different. They've added more to it, and it does run a lot smoother as well. But my girlfriend's been playing this one mainly because this is her type of game, and she's really enjoying it. Yeah, so again, it's one of those games that if I get a spare break in my collection, I'll definitely pick it up and play. I don't dislike the genre at all, but again, just recently there's been so many games that I've been playing that I've just not had time to even put this in and start it. So, but they're fun games, fun little. I suppose you'd call them like a life sim maybe, but there's a dungeon crawling aspect to it, and like farming sim, and all these sorts of things. There is the argument that once you've played one, you've kind of played them all a little bit, but it's always fun to start a new adventure. And next up, we have the video game that took up a lot of my Christmas and January as well. So this is Cyberpunk 2077, and it also has the DLC Phantom Liberty that came out last year. So Cyberpunk is surprisingly, it's a 3-year-old game now, which is shocking to think, really. And when it originally released on the PS4, it was a very, very buggy mess, almost to the point of it being unplayable on consoles. Some high-spec PC players could get it to run smoothly, but if you weren't that person, you you unfortunately got a game that you couldn't really play, especially as it got worse the more you played into the game as well. But they patched it, I want to say, in 2022, and it was 100% playable then, and they released the DLC for it in 2023, which is when they decided to do a complete edition, ultimate edition they called it, which is everything. And yeah, I picked it up just before Christmas and absolutely fell in love with this game. CD Projekt Red, who also do the Witcher games, for those that don't know, they're just incredible, like story, character and quest creators, I suppose. Like every single character that you meet in the main story, you'll love or you'll hate purposefully, like you're meant to hate them. And the quests that you get are just really unique and fun. And there was actually an article recently where they're talking about how they make a quest in a game, and apparently like 95% of the ideas that get thrown around aren't used and thrown in the trash because they're not good enough. So that shows a good development cycle, I think. But yeah, just everything about this game just grabbed me and got my attention. And I've completely finished the Phantom Liberty DLC, and I got the new ending for Phantom Liberty. But I'm still playing through the base game just to get some of those endings as well, because it'd be interesting to see what those endings are. But I think the new Phantom Liberty ending is what's known as like the definitive ending, and probably the one that they'll use in the sequel that they're currently developing. But yeah, it's a first person open world RPG, but it's just so in depth. You have Keanu Reeves here playing a character called Johnny Silverhands, who's sort of like one of the main characters that you interact with through the story. I don't want to go through too much detail because I don't want to give spoilers away or anything, but Keanu was a really good choice for this character. He seems to perform it really well. And then we've also got Idris Elba, who's a character in the DLC Phantom Liberty, and again, he was just a perfect choice for this character. He plays it really well. Apparently it's all mocapped as well, so he actually acted rather than just him doing voice acting lines. But yeah, it's I really can't recommend this game enough. It's probably one of the better games I've finished in a long while. Would I put it into my top 10? Possibly. I want to play it a bit more before I say that, I think. But I want to finish some of the original endings, I think, before I definitively say that. But it's definitely a contender, I think. Just the world that you get to explore is so good. It's one of the few open world games where it's not just about the horizon, it's about the verticality of it as well. So there's a lot of buildings you can go up and explore, and there's like levels that take you through different levels of buildings rather than just it all being on the ground, like most open world games are. But yeah, if you're a fan of CD Projekt Red or a fan of first-person shooters that are pretty decent, I would highly recommend this. Next up we have a sealed game, as you can see here. You can probably see off the gloss there. And this is Immortals of Avalon, I believe it's pronounced. It's a game by EA, and this is a first-person one. I think they use the term shooter, but it's you use magic instead of guns. So very like Hexen-like, if you remember that PS1 game back in the day. I picked this up because it was really cheap. There's a supermarket in the UK called Asda, and they had a sale just before Christmas where they were basically giving the games away. Essentially, I think they were trying to get rid of a huge backlog to make way for new stock, and they were selling a lot of sealed PS5 games for between £5 and £10. They had a lot of games in this deal, but unfortunately I turned up too late because, as you imagine, them being so cheap, they went really quickly. So the only games they had left in stock were this Immortals of Avalon. I think they had Gotham Knights as well, and then the most recent PGA golf game as well. And I'm not really a golfer. And the new Gotham Knights game, I believe, is better when you've got friends to play with. And I don't really do online gaming anymore. Not since I had kids, I just don't really get time for it. But I had heard some okay stuff about this one. I've obviously not played it yet because it's still sealed. But it was £5, so I couldn't really say no to it. I actually picked up a copy for my brother-in-law as well, but because I know he wanted to play as well. Yeah, I mean the sale that they had, it was like you could get like the new Dead Space remake for a £5. They were selling some TAC games as well, like Gollum. Gollum was part of the sale, and that was a £5, and that was another one that hadn't gone, and I wasn't even going to touch it. I think the most expensive one they had in the sale was Elden Ring, the PS5 Elden Ring, and that was £15. Like, even £15 for Elden Ring, that's still an absolute bargain. So, but yeah, unfortunately I was just a little bit too late to the party to get some of the really, really good deals. But I still think this was a really good pickup, and I'm hoping to get to it at some point. And next up we have the two games that have been taking up the most of my time recently, and I'll be honest, they're the reason why I haven't made any videos in a month. So apologies for that to start with. The 300 subscriber special is coming. I'm just having some difficulty getting some of the cards that I want to put in my top 10 because I can't find them, essentially. Yeah, we're going to start off with this one, which is it used to be the Yakuza series, but they now just call it Like a Dragon, like the Japanese name. And this is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is a JRPG, but it's set in the Yakuza universe. And as you know from my previous video, the first one in this spin-off series, which was the official title, was Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon. It's one of my favourite games, so this was a must-buy for me. I am not super far into the game because of the other game that sits here, which I'm sure some of you can guess already. But I'm not super far into it, but what I've played so far, it's just as perfect as the first game. As I mentioned before, this series does such a good job on the mainline story. Like, honestly, you could make films out of them, I think, and they'd be really good watches. I mean, I might be wrong and they already do it, but they should really turn this series into an anime series. Yeah, the story and the main characters, again, are just so well written that you can't not love them. likes to take it on the goofy side as well, and it will just like the side missions. I think they call them sub-quests in the game, I can't remember now. But yeah, the side missions are just some of the goofiest things that you'll ever do, and they'll just make you laugh, which it's good to have that sort of like yin and yang, but like, you know, you're fighting like giant robot road sweepers and all sorts. I think you fight a lobster in this one as well, which is just really funny. But yeah, it's a really good JRPG. Again, I haven't finished this one, so I don't want to recommend it yet because it might just fall flat in the second half of the game or whatever. But it's a game that if you love this genre, you're going to easily sink 100 hours into it. No ifs or buts there. I mean, you can just go and do the main story if you want to, but you're missing like 80% of the game at least, if not 90. So yeah, but that's one of the reasons why I've been absent, because any spare time that I get, I've been playing this game and this next game, which I'm sure you can guess is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I really, just to start on a negative, just so I don't fanboy all over it, I really hate this front cover. You can't actually read Rebirth there at all. It's such a poor typeface and colour choice. Like, I'm sure this stands out on the shelf as you're walking past in game or in the supermarket or something, but I really wish I could read this. I can't even read it now and I'm sat right in front of it. But yeah, apart from that, this game is it's really good. I do have some negative things to say about it, but we'll just go through those in time. So I again have not finished this game. I'm told I'm about 40% through the story. I don't really want to say much because I don't want to ruin it, but I suppose, like, Final Fantasy VII came out in 96, 97, so a lot of people are going to know the story already. So I'm currently got to Costa del Sol. Yeah, I've just got off the boat essentially and done some of the party games. And I'm probably about 40 hours into the game, which is crazy to think that. So I'll start with some positives. The world that they've built is absolutely incredible. Like, to see, I mean, as you know from my previous video, the Final Fantasy VII is my favourite game ever. If you don't like that opinion, that's fine, that's your opinion, but Final Fantasy VII means a lot to me as a video game. And to see what they've done, going from the polygonal late 90s 3D graphics to this, is just insane. Like, getting to see all of the detail that they can now put in, and just making everything bigger as well. It's just so fun to play through, and like that, it's not even necessarily a great story, it's more just revisiting the nostalgia of the original game. The combat is pretty good. It can get slightly repetitive sometimes, but I think I want to say the biggest negative I have so far is that the game is just like stuffed full of things to do, which sounds like a really weird thing to say about a video game. You obviously want to get your money's worth, but I feel it really distracts from the story of the game, and that's kind of why a lot of people are playing this game, is that they want to know what happens. So as an example, the first area of the game, that when you get to the open world, not the prologue or anything, is the calm area. So you have Calm Town, Chocobo Ranch and the Swamp, which I'm sure those who've played the game will recognise. And that sort of, in the game, takes you maybe no longer than 20 minutes to maybe like work out and do. For people that know what to do, you can do it in 10 really easily. And I think I spent about 12 hours in this version of it. That's a bit of a difference. The open world is just, it's stacked full of things to do. There's like, there's what I would call Assassin's Creed Towers, which is you just climb up it and then you unlock some more things to do in the area. There's like boss fights, there's you can like hunt for things with your chocobo. Like chocobos are just a key thing to unlock in the game as well, because they just help you explore everywhere at quick speed. They're not just the means to travel over the swamp at this time. There's like, you've got to take photographs of scenic areas. You can also find like unique locations that have geocaches in them, so you have to find them. You've got to fix all the chocobo stops. There's just a lot to do, and that's just the first open world segment. And there's, they class that as chapter 2 of the game, the game has about 14 or 16 chapters or something like that. So I've got one friend who's finished it so far, and he said it took him 90 hours to do the majority of stuff. He's not even finished it all yet, because there's some stuff that he can't do. There's an inbuilt card game within the universe that you can play. That's quite a lot of gameplay as well. But there's all these like unique mini games to play, like 4 Condors back. If you remember from the first game, where you have to defend an area with a little miniature army men. What else is there? There's dolphin riding. You now ride Mr. Dolphin and June on. There's all these. Another example is I'm in Costa del Sol at the moment, which was a small town in the original game, where you watch like 2 cutscenes and then you go. And I'm currently doing about 4 different mini games so far in this town, and I've not even seen the cutscenes that you're expecting to see again. The story is different to the original. They have modernised it a bit and fixed some of the story loopholes and stuff like that. So, it is my biggest gripe is that there's just a lot to do, which is really weird to say, like I said, but then again, you can't argue with it really, because this game was cheaper than a full release. Like a full release game in the UK now will set you back 70 quid, and this was only 60, which, not much of a saving, but when you're getting so much game, you can't really complain. I apologise for not releasing more videos, but this is probably the reason why, really. My output will be slower until I finish this as well, I think. I don't get much limited free time, while we're having a partner and kids, so when I do get free time, it's going on this at the moment. But yeah, there we go. So those are the video games that I've been collecting recently. Tried to do that slowly without making much noise. That was very well done, I think. But yeah, let me know what you think on the pickups. Let me know if there's something that you've picked up that you would recommend. I've been Foamy ASMR. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel grow. And if you leave a comment below, I'll get back to you. I'll see you in the next video.